show. I've been told that it's one that I should watch, but I have not seen it. Have fun with your game. Can everybody hear me okay? This is the first time using this microphone on a stream, so I have no idea if it's good or if it's too loud. Let me know. Alright, well, I do have the gain down really low from recording, so it didn't pick up all the mic noises, so let me just adjust here a bit. Is that a little bit better? Okay. Thank you, Wolf. Have a good day, night, evening, whatever it is where you are. So how is everybody doing this evening? I have had a crazy busy weekend and decided I was going to stream today at the last second because that's just the kind of thing that I do. And I do have a fan right behind me in the background, so hopefully it's not picking up a lot of wind noise. I know this microphone is super duper sensitive, so... Good, I'm glad you got a little bit of downtime. Lord knows I could use some downtime. Today was a busy day at the clinic, and then as soon as I was done working at the clinic, I went and cleared out the rest of my storage unit, so now my van is all packed full of junk again that I have to empty out tomorrow before I go get my kids in the evening. And I have not seen them in 2 weeks, so I am very excited to get to see them again. It's crazy that it's been 2 weeks already. I've been so busy it hasn't felt like that long. Moving things out of my storage unit because my financial situation has changed so much that as nice as it is to not have crap packed to the ceiling like it is now, the extra $100 a month that it costs to have the storage unit is $100 that could be better spent elsewhere, like on groceries for my giant children who eat nonstop. Save it where you can, you know? Of course, I picked the worst possible weekend to pack up and move those things because the average temperature this weekend has been between 93 and 98 degrees. Right now, according to the weather thingy on my computer, it says it's 94. And yes, I did it all by myself with just my minivan. I went to bed I finally fell asleep at about 2:30, and I was up at 7:30, so I got like 5 solid hours. Wasn't bad. Haven't felt like I was dragging all day, so good enough, I guess. How about you, Nate? You were also up pretty late. Did you make up for it by napping today? Or did you just get to sleep in? Shame on you. I thought about pulling an all-nighter, but then decided it wouldn't be a good idea. I'm getting too old for that crap. Dude, I'm 36. I'm closer to 40 than you are. I call people a year younger than I am children, so it's fine. You're fine, youngin'. You'll be okay. You're only as old as you feel. Some days I am 95, and some days I am 17, and some days I'm somewhere in between. If by cute you mean an obnoxious weirdo, then yes I am. I'm too tall to be cute. At least that is what I have been told before. Unless you're saying that you're cute. Because, I mean, yeah, most people in their early 30s are still cute. It's once you have kids and you pass, like, 35 that it starts to kind of and explode. There's nothing wrong with being 5'6". don't know, there's something about being called cute that just always kind of makes me bristle a little bit. Like it's implying that I am a small person, and it's like, no, I am not a small person. I am quite a large human. I mean, compared to a lot of people, I guess I'm not that big, but I'm tallish. I'm not petite by any means. And I mostly just live in leggings and tank tops and t-shirts. Because that's what I wear to work. And that's what I wear around the house. Oh, really? She's not cute. I don't know. I think that for me, it's more that the size differential implies a power differential, and that's not entirely true. So when somebody says cute, I'm like, oh, you think because I'm smaller than you that somehow means I'm weaker than you, and that's large percentage of the time not the case. But you know, that's probably just my trauma speaking. Discovered that there's a lot of fun things that go along with that in the last few years. And Kasaya isn't cute. She's got like red skin and white hair and horns and a spiky tail. She's not cute. She is fierce. And I need to get the script for that second part of that written. Well, I mean, if you think it's cute, that's fine, but I feel like by the conventional definition of cute, most people would look at that and go, yeah, no, that's not what cute is. But then again, I'm the same way. I'm like, ooh, vampires. Ooh, demons. So, yeah. I feel like I base too many of my opinions around what society's opinion of normal is supposed to be, because none of the things that I enjoy fit with that. I've actually heard a lot of people say that about Kasaya. I was not expecting that storyline to take off at all. It was just something that I kind of wanted to play around with, and I put one up and actually started getting interactions on it back when my channel only had like 150-ish subscribers, which honestly wasn't that long ago. I think that in maybe March-ish, February or March, I had somewhere around 300 subscribers, and now we're almost to 2,000. So, all things considered, I think I finally kind of have the magical robot thingy that controls who sees what quasi figured out. I haven't hit any videos that have gone crazy viral out of nowhere, but which does kind of rankle a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Despite how hard I've been trying to get one of those, I do keep seeing consistent upward growth with the subscriber count and with the view count on the videos, but my goal is almost always to hit close to 1,000 views within the first week of a video going live. And And so far I've been really close. The second werewolf girlfriend video missed the mark by like 10 views, but then the next day obviously made up for it. But I really need to write the script for the second part of the second season of Kasaya. Aw, no, don't send me a bill for your monitor. I promise I wouldn't be able to pay it right now. Yeah, I feel like Kasaya is the expression of some of the snarkier parts of my personality, for sure. I feel like everybody has this idea that tsunderes have to be total assholes, and I'm like, I don't think that they need to be so freaking mean. Like, I don't like bullies. Somebody who is a little bit aloof and sarcastic and standoffish, that's cool. I can get down with that. But somebody who's just straight up mean and calls you names all the time, and not like in good fun names. Like Amnesiac Wrecking Ball, you know. I feel like there is an enjoyable, gentle way to poke fun at someone, and then there's just straight up being a jerk. Nobody likes a jerk. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't know the difference between the two things. The book's coming along, kind of. I finished a chapter for the first time in 3 months just a few days ago, so that was nice. Reassessed my outline. I've just been so busy with work and everything that it hasn't happened. And I really need to make it happen because I've probably only got about maybe 25 to 30,000 words left to write to finish the book, and I really want to release it on Halloween because vampires and Halloween and themed related releases tend to do well, which is something I've also noticed with my channel. Because Kasaya did kind of okay-ish, and then when I put out the first Mafia Dom Neko girlfriend thingy on Valentine's Day, all of a sudden, boom, that was when things started to pop off. I say pop off when growth has been completely steady the entire time, but you know what I mean. Yeah, writing my book has been going okay-ish. I have not... Oh, I'm talking about my actual novel I'm writing, not Kasaya stuff in general. But yes, everyone seems to really, really love her. I wasn't planning on doing a second season, you guys. And everybody was so goddamn upset at the way I left things in the episode that I did. The one where the paladin finally gets their memories back. I was like, oh, I didn't realize people were so emotionally invested in this whole thing. Guess it's a good thing I kind of left it open like a TV show so I can add more to it. And Now, the issue I'm running into with episode 2 of season 2 is, firstly, I have to write the damn script. Because some things I can improv, but there is too much stuff to keep straight name-wise when you're dealing with fantasy stuff. And I know that it was originally tagged as D&D stuff, but we're moving into the realm of just normal fantasy, because thus far I have been lucky to avoid any rulebook thumpers. But I don't want somebody to try to come for me if I, like, do something with tieflings in general that's not in the rulebook. Well, guess what? The rulebooks I have are 3.5. I don't even have 5th edition, so piss off. It's supposed to be guidelines, you know? You're supposed to take the parameters they have set out and create something from it that you and your friends, family, whatever, can enjoy. It's not something where you should be sitting there staring at the book going, well, it says in subcategory 3 of Article 25F that this type of character is incapable of doing X thing because of this other thing. Like, oh my god, stop. Stop. Just stop. Don't do that. That makes it no fun for anybody involved. I actually have 2 novels that I am working on right now, one of which I was planning to enter into a contest, and then life happened, so I ended up not really being able to write on it too terribly much. And then on top of that, I got really kind of mentally freaked out about some of the subject matter in the book. And wasn't sure if people were going to hate it or if people were going to love it, so I was like, and I kind of lost steam on it, which sucks because it was kicking along really good for a bit there. So the primary novel that I'm working on that I am going to finish this year, even if it means the end of my existence as we know it, is a reverse harem novel with vampires, and eventually it's probably going to go from just reverse harem to actual polyamory, which is going to be explored between the main character and the primary circle of guys and their metamors. And yes, I am going to be putting the book out in audio format. I was originally going to be recording audio chapters as I wrote them to put up on my Patreon, and then I was like, yeah, but then when you go to revise the book, you're going to change a whole bunch of things, and then you're going to have to record the audio again another time. So I kind of quit doing that after the first few chapters I did. Not much, Lucifer, just chatting about writing stuff, character stuff, life stuff. And I finally went through my giant list of all of the audios I have planned and crossed off all the ones that I have done and rewrote the list and reorganized the list. I mean, I guess if you're into that stuff, it's interesting. Hi there. Doing alright. Just trying to stay cool. It is 94 degrees here right now, so I am hiding inside now that I am done with all of the life things outside for the day. And now the issue that I'm running into with the the second episode of Kasaya is that I'm gonna need another person's voice, because the paladin listener character is going to travel to that tavern and is going to meet the two people who own the tavern, which is a Naga and her husband, who is a satyr. Which means I have to talk to some of the dude VAs that I shitpost with on Twitter all the time, and I don't know if I should do, like, some sort of a casting call, or if I should just ask a few of them, and I'm just like, oh man. And yeah, I think that the book in general people are either going to love it or they are going to hate it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of in between. Because somehow this novel ended up with an extremely diverse cast of characters, in that I, as anybody who has seen any of my shorts and stuff on here will know, I am a white female. And a lot of my characters are not white people. Not completely white anyway. It's complicated. So America is full of people of many varying shades, and since this story is based in America, a lot of my characters are different shades. One of the 3 primary clans of vampires that runs America, essentially, because they are more southern in nature. They actually have an entire subsector of the family tree that are like deep south Creole. So, yeah. I know that diversity in fiction is really good, but being a not heavily melanated writer, I know that some people will say, oh, good on you for using diversity, and other people will say, what do you know about the way people who aren't like you live? And that's something I'm kind of edgy and worried about with it. And I actually have one character who is a non-binary character. They were born female, and they are pyrokinetic. Because vampires in my universe, male vampires have powers that are meant to entice and seduce prey to make feeding easier, and female vampires all have offensive attack-based powers. So this character has fire magic, essentially. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. So far, from the few people and the few sensitivity readers I've had look through it, I'm doing pretty decent. So, yeah. Hopefully it continues that way. You know, I was talking to my friend about it on the phone the other day, and she was like, so is this on Amazon yet? And I was like, no, I haven't even finished writing it yet. She's like, oh. She's like, but why? I'm really interested in it. How am I supposed to read it if it's not done yet? I'm like, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait. I mean, I started writing this book, God, 5 or 6 years ago, I think. Actually, Nate, you want to know something hilarious about that? So, when I was figuring out all of the character names for this book that I'm writing, I went through and found historically accurate names for when these people were born. And the vampire character, who is the non-binary pyrokinetic, their name is Fear, because they were born in the Puritan era. See, I wish that more people felt that way about it, honestly, Lucifer. I mean, there is a way to, I feel like, honor a culture that you are not a part of, and conversely, you can portray it in a way that is making fun of it and poking fun at it. And that is not what I am intending to do. But people who say, oh, write what you know, write about your own experiences. I'm like, well, that's gonna be boring as shit. Like, can we be real? That is gonna be so boring. Like, obviously, I've never encountered a vampire in real life, but you know what? I've been consuming vampire media since I was a kid. And I've studied a lot of science stuff, so I'm not calling this book romance, because romance is a subplot. It is not the primary plot. I'm calling it an urban fantasy because there's some science in it, but there are still fantastical, supernatural elements to it. Magical realism is what I'm aiming for. And my one friend who I tend to bounce ideas off of and who screens everything is like, how do you come up with this stuff? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just in my brain. I don't know what to tell you. It's just how my brain works. I would really like to go to Japan someday. I hope that the visual kei scene is still a thing when I finally get to go. Because I would love to just hop around to different concert venues and eat good food the whole time I'm there. I could just do that and I would be happy. My phone is just now telling me half an hour in that I've started streaming. Thanks for the notification, YouTube. Anybody have any questions about any of the series that are currently running? Or any questions about the polls that I've been putting up lately, which have had interesting results, to say the least. Hi, Tenbray, or Tenber, whichever way it's pronounced. Welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I put up polls. If you go to the community tab, there are polls there. There are polls. I post random pictures and crap sometimes. Sometimes I'll post like a music video that I've been binge listening to. And it's funny that you say that, Lucifer. From everything that I have experienced and seen through media, but also we actually had a man who grew up in Japan who went through school at the massage clinic I work at. And Japanese people in general, I wouldn't say they're necessarily shy, but definitely more introverted and calm than Americans are in general. Although that's not to say that there aren't shy people here. There are plenty of people here who are shy and have social anxiety and all that. I am not one of those people. I have never been shy. I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm extroverted, but I worked in retail long enough that I can talk with anybody about anything as long as they care to maintain the conversation. Hi, Miss Creepy Tales. How are you? And I actually had a story that I wrote and narrated in an all-female narrator collaboration over on Miss Creepy Tales' channel a little while ago. Doing alright here, just trying to stay as comfortably cool as possible. It's 94 Fahrenheit here, which is, I think, 34, 35-ish Celsius, somewhere in that range. The only reason I know that is because I grew up near Canada, and I know that 30 Celsius is close to 90. It's pretty hot. Thank you. That was my first time actually writing cosmic horror, and I have been a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft for a long time, so that was pretty cool. All I can hear every time I listen to it are the flaws, but that's just the way I am. I am not really into mech stuff. I kind of liked Gundam Wing when I was a teenager, and I don't know if you can call Magic Knight Rayearth mech or not. I would say probably not, but that's mech adjacent, I guess. Oh yeah, well don't get in trouble at work, goodness. And yes, that is the problem with creating things. Everybody else is like, oh, this is wonderful, and you're like, oh, but you don't understand. I accidentally repeated this word, or this pause was too long, or the EQ leveling was slightly off in this spot, so this one part the audio spikes louder than it should, and it's really off-putting, and 90% of people are like, I didn't even notice any of that. And you're like, oh, well then. Apologies, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hi Val, welcome. You know how it is. I've heard your outtakes at the end of your videos. You know how it is. Oh my god, what did I even say? What even is this word? Is this a word? I don't know. You know what? I made it a word. It is a word now because I said so. I love that my coffee maker beeps like an hour after it's done making the coffee. Like it's reminding me, oh hey, you should go fill up your coffee cup. It's almost 6 o'clock at night, I shouldn't be drinking coffee. But I'm doing it anyway. So actually, in regards to the polls, which I will kind of go over what was in them for people who apparently haven't seen them because YouTube doesn't always show community posts to everybody. I asked if people would be interested in a supervillain / hero storyline arc. And I had this ridiculous idea in my head because although I'm a total chicken and am afraid to ever ask people to work with me, I do really enjoy working with other voice actors. It's a lot of fun. And I was like, should I just do a series where it is a morally gray supervillain and a listener? Or should I do this ridiculously huge thing where I would create all of the initial character profiles and then voice actors could each select one, and from there they could essentially take it in whatever direction they wanted, but all of us would occasionally come together and have a big group collab video where everybody was in it interacting in some way, shape, or form. So like a big shared VA universe. And I was like, that's a really cool idea, but that would be a lot of damn work. Oh my god, so much work. So I was kind of glad when people voted very, very largely just in favor of the regular supervillain thing. More like League of Evil for ASMR, but yeah, same kinda, yeah. So I started researching and came up with a few supervillain names that I couldn't find anywhere else, and came up with like powers and all these other things. Some of them are absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, it's supervillains. They're supposed to be a little over the top, right? Right. So there was that one. What was the other poll that I had? Now I have to look. I know I just did one like the other day. You'd think I'd remember. Oh, there we go. So I actually posted this same poll on Twitter and got wildly different results. But the poll that I put up on the community page was, I mentioned that I'm thinking of doing slightly spicier content, but if it gets a little bit out of hand with the heat level, then the videos would be age restricted because I don't want to have to worry about getting monetization ripped away from me after I finally just got it. So I asked if people would be most interested in a buff kitsune girl, a hungry neophyte vampire girl, or a mad scientist girl. And here on YouTube, 60% of people of the 50 who voted went for the Kitsune girl. 28% were for the hungry vampire, and 12% were actually for the mad scientist girl, which I thought was kind of surprising. There will be. That's how things are gonna go in mine. The listener character is not going to be a hero. And it's not going to be in a, oh, I'm just taking you to get back at the hero type of capacity. It's going to be interesting. I have a really good idea for it, and like all of the things that I do, oh, there's this idea? Just kidding. Here's a twist. So I am probably going to make all of those characters at some point. The fox girl, the hungry vampire, and the mad scientist. Because I like all of those ideas. I just like seeing what you guys are most interested in seeing and hearing first. And that's why I make lists of things. And I know that it's not really most people's bag, but there will be more snippets of my fiction here and there that will also be going up on the channel. I do have one story that I finished that I will have to make age restricted once I finally record it, because there's some things in it that are kind of icky, and yeah. But it's a horror short. I think it's like 8,000 words-ish. So it's going to be close to an hour, if not longer. And I have another shorter short. I mean, it is my fiction, but I think of more, written out in paragraph format. This is scripts and stories aren't the same to me. And I'm so glad I don't have the face cam on, because I talk with my hands so much. God, I can tell I'm from New York. It's insane. And that's a big part of the reason I'm glad that I decided to just write my own scripts. Because yes, there are many public scripts available, and they are amazing, and they are wonderful, and the people who wrote them are really cool people, especially since I talk with some of them on Twitter now. It's really neat getting to see their process and what they go through, but after watching in the horror narration community, YouTube coming through and nuking entire channels because of the reused content thing, it's like, but it's not completely reused content. It's somebody else doing the same script. Again, it comes back to, that's like saying anybody who performs a Shakespeare play that isn't the first actors who played it, it's all just a ripoff. And none of those people deserve any credit whatsoever, regardless of how amazing their acting in it may have been. And I think that is incorrect and not the proper way to look at things. But I don't run the zoo and I don't work for YouTube, so I don't get to make that decision. I think that just being a creative person in general is a weird place to be at sometimes. and I'm glad you're all here. For a long time, when I was just trying to write books and watching all of the trends and everything, because when you're trying to make money from something, there is a certain amount of, yes, write what you want, yes, do what you want, but if you want to make money at it, you have to kind of operate within certain boundaries to reach an audience somehow. And writing scripts and doing improv for this is something that has kept those creative juices fresh, so I can write better when I do finally sit down to work on a chapter for one of my books. And we won't talk about the entire folder of half-started books that I have that are somewhere between 30 and 50,000 words, but they're all maybe halfway done-ish. And most of them were written long enough ago now that if I were going to pick them up and try to finish them, I would have to completely revamp them because my writing style has changed so much in the last... Well, I mean, I've been seriously writing since I was in 10th grade, and I'm 36, so 20 years of writing, seriously. We won't count the fan fiction and things that I wrote between the ages of probably 12 and 16. And yes, I used to write fan fiction. And no, we won't go there. Oh, good luck. Moving is terrible, and housing scams are also terrible. I actually got rolled by one of those almost 5 years ago. Luckily, I ended up getting half of my money back at least, but I still was out $1,000, which is a lot of money. But losing 1,000 is better than 2,000, right? Right. It's horrible that people have found ways to exploit things like that. Oh, you have a need for something? Well, I may have just the thing you're looking for. Just kidding, LOL. Laughing all the way to the bank. Good lord, have we really already been streaming for almost an hour already? I always look at people who do like 12-hour streams or 24-hour streams and I'm like, how? But then I could talk for probably 2 to 4 hours and not have an issue, so yeah. I guess I kinda sorta get it. The sad thing about my list of content that I wrote out is that I was planning on having all of it done by the end of July, because I was gonna put out 3 audios a week. I was gonna do it, and I did it for like a week, and then I realized there's no way in hell I could keep up with that unless I got 4 or 5 audios recorded ahead of time, so then every time I did record, there were still 1 or 2 extra in the pipeline ready to go. And that just didn't happen. Maybe I'll get to that point someday, but I really am aiming for 2 a week now. I should be able to make 2 work. Because if you want to make money from it like it's a job, you've got to treat it kind of like a job. Everybody says, oh, just relax, just have fun with it. And I'm like, you don't understand. All of the time and effort and money, because I pay for all of my editing programs. It's like $60 a month, I think, somewhere in that range for the Adobe Creative Suite, which is all of their programs. It costs money. It adds up. Oh no, it won't ever be just a job. And I do enjoy it. That's why I keep doing it. That's why if it's been like a week-ish since I've put out an audio, I'm like, oh crap, I was gonna go do that thing. And now, having this better microphone, it makes it a lot easier from an editing standpoint because I can actually record during the day with moderate life noises of the humans that live around me, and it does a pretty damn good job of filtering them out to a level that I can then eradicate them from the audio without having to hunt through and scrub. And editing is probably my least favorite thing. Yeah, I know that to start with, it's not going to be paying very much, but it's one of those things where putting in the effort now is hopefully going to bring in better return of investment. Primary investment being time, but if I'm trying to get it to a point where it is bringing in more money, so it is more like a job, a career, however you want to classify it, we'll get there. I am aiming to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And with the way things have been going, I think I can get pretty close. Give or take maybe 1,000, we'll see. What I'd really like to do is to do something that's totally insane that I would have to plan for and start banking audios for ahead of time, because I don't think I could pull it off the way that he did. But over on Twitter, there is another voice actor who goes by Dade Audio, and he did a video every single day for the month of July. 31 new audios this month. I'm like, dude, you nuts. You are crazy. And he pulled it off. He did it. I'm like, I get really excited about the idea of that, and then I remember how much work it takes to edit such a short audio, and I'm like, man. Hello, Mr. Kitty, what are you doing? I have never heard of it. And it's totally okay if it has no relevance to anything I'm talking about. If you guys want to talk amongst yourselves or whatever, feel free. I am just a facilitator and a go-between. And now you're gonna have some cat ASMR, because I totally have a giant orange purring monster in my lap right now. You don't fit there, dude. Like, why? Why do you insist on wedging yourself in my lap next to the desk? tell you were cute? Was it me? Yeah, probably was me, huh? Making life difficult, my furry friend. I haven't really had an issue with that. Not with the audios, because I record those here, but on my crafting channel when I would do vlogs and I'd be out of the house sometimes recording, it never fails. You'll be like recording in the car and somebody will walk by and like make a weird face at you, and it's like, doesn't everybody just record random videos on their phone? Like, why are you looking at me like that? Don't look at me. I'm from New York. I'll cut you. Go away. Dude, I love you. Can you please get out of my lap? I love you, buddy. Oh, here you go. Thank you, sir. I am now covered in orange and white fuzz. There's actually a short video, if you've ever seen the shorts that I've posted, that is just him purring. That's my orange cat, Atticus. I don't think I could pick a favorite, honestly. Recently, I did a post over on my community tab where I listed my current top 10 male voice actors. Because in my last stream I had a few people ask because they are interested in potentially jumping in the game, so I was like, well, my tastes are not everybody's tastes, but these are the people that I currently listen to on repeat. And one of them is actually the first channel that really introduced me to the genre as a whole, and that would be Yuzuya. He mostly does My Hero Academia impressions, which is really cool, because I'm a dork and a weeb, but I'm an elder weeb. Speak not to me of the deep magics which I was there when they were written. But I think the first... and I still go back to that video occasionally too. The first video that really got me into the genre was after I had been divorced for a bit, and on top of that, I had broken up with my boyfriend and realized that I have not had to sleep by myself for nearly a decade. And my insomnia got so bad that I could only sleep maybe an hour or two in a row. Like, I could not sleep. So, I have this headband that has little flat speakers in it that you put on, so it's like headphones, but you can actually lay down on your side with it and not get stabbed by earbuds. And this guy has like an hour-long sleeping with your pro hero Red Riot boyfriend whatever ASMR, and it's this really cute wholesome little scenario. You know, you passed out on the couch waiting for Kirishima to get home from work, and he comes home and he's like, oh, you fell asleep on the couch, here, let's go to bed, and just like carries you to bed and just like snuggles with you, and that's it. Like, there's nothing spicy about it. It's not even remotely questionable, and just the sound of another human making noise in proximity to me, like I was out like a light. Probably 10 minutes into it, out cold, and I was like, oh my god, this works. This is amazing. And I know that sounds kind of pathetic and ridiculous, but that's what did it for me. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I have never been able to fall asleep like this. This is great. And that's how I got addicted to boyfriend ASMR. Blame Yuzuya, it's his fault. But I really like certain accents, and I like certain subjects, and I don't really like, I will call them contemporary ASMR, which is that the characters are just normal people. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm like, ew, humans. It's so ridiculous. But it's the truth. Oh, I know. But I have all of those internalized judgments about myself, not about other people. When other people do it, I'm very forgiving of it. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm sure they've got their reasons. And even though I just explained my reasons, I still, to me, am like, ew, you're weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you listening to that? I'm like, I don't know, because it works. Like, why do we have to question it? Why do we have to hate ourselves so much? Because our peer group taught us to hate ourselves that much? Oh yeah, that. This is why we don't have friends. Not in-person friends, anyway. I actually think that it makes a lot of sense to listen to it, especially considering how much actual social interactions were limited during the height of the Panera Bread factory. Because, you know, you can't say the P word on the YT without getting in the troubles. So we won't say that word. But when people were so cut off from other human beings, and a lot of people still are, it just makes sense. I feel like it is a healthy outlet, it is a healthy expression. If it works for people, cool. I am 110% in the camp of do what works for you as long as it's not hurting you or somebody else. And I know that leaves a very broad range of things open to interpretation. But, yeah. As long as it's not hurting anybody, do what works. And this is also, by the way, said from a woman who has been playing an otome game for the last almost 2 years now. Religiously, on the daily. And I talk about these characters in this game. Like I actually have a relationship with them, despite the fact that they are obviously not real. On top of that, they're two-dimensional. And a friend of mine who doesn't even play the game knows so much about these characters that it's, yeah. It's different. But you know, when reality doesn't provide to us the things that we need, what do? We turn to fiction instead. And if it gives you that spark of joy that makes it so that you can get from one day to the next, I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'll agree with that. I mean, I live in the bottom floor of a 3-story apartment building, and I have neighbors on either side of me and above me. And I've actually only met the neighbors on one side and 2 stairwells down. I've met a few. But, yeah. I just don't want to go out and meet people. Especially since it seems like as an adult, the primary means of meeting other adults is to go out drinking. And I do not drink. On top of I do not drink, I do not enjoy being around people who are drinking, especially to excess. And most people who go out to drink do not drink in moderation. They only drink in excess. And that is not an environment that I enjoy being in. So if that's the only way to meet people, I will stick to my boyfriend audios and my 2D demon boyfriends in the game I play. Okay, thanks. It's just simpler that way. And it doesn't cause me any physical harm that way. But I also know, unlike I think some younger people who make mistakes when they discover things in the nature of boyfriend and girlfriend ASMR, I know that there is a difference between fiction and reality. And I realize that listening to these things is a coping mechanism. I know that I am not actually in a relationship with the characters portrayed by these people. I am not in a relationship with the people who portray those characters. Which, with yet another grooming issue popping up in the Twitterverse of voice actors, as it does, it seems like every 3 or 4 weeks. I saw a few bigger voice actors. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to have to worry about getting in trouble. But one of them had a list of things that are okay ways to interact with voice actors and whatnot, versus things that if you see a voice actor doing them, you should know that you should not engage with this person in any way, shape, or form. And one of the things that they said was a super no-no bad dog thing was flirting, and I was like, I want to respectfully disagree about that. In that, there is, as with poking fun at somebody, there is a lighthearted, fun, non-threatening way to flirt, and there is being a creepy McCreeperson. And they are not the same thing. Not even remotely. And I think that there's a big difference there that a lot of people, especially younger people, maybe don't know the difference between the two. Because to say that any and all flirting is bad, I have to disagree. Because just complimenting someone to the wrong person could be misconstrued as flirting. And I don't mean physically complimenting someone, but like, oh hey, I really liked the way this audio sounded, it was amazing. Or rather than directing the compliment at the voice actor, like, oh, I really like this character, as opposed to, oh, I really like you. Because I really like you when you've never actually met me as a person is kind of, like, you don't know me. You know what I am portraying to you. Which, me being me, is honestly pretty blunt and close to how I am as a person anyway, because I suck at lying. But that still doesn't mean that you know me in the way that maybe you've become attached to a character. You know, it's not the same thing. But yeah, if you ever want to see like a major shitstorm of horrible things happening, just go over in the VA spaces on Twitter. It's not all bad, but the parts that are bad are so bad. It's catastrophic. You kind of want to engage with it, but by the same token, it's like I don't want to say anything. You know? Yeah, I've seen that too. I feel like that's one of those things where it's kind of in a gray area. Like there's a way to do it that is okay and acceptable, and there is a way to do it that is very much overstepping boundaries and I would say is not the proper way to respond. Well, I'm glad you enjoy chatting with me during my streams. And all of this that I just said with, you know, parasocial relationships are a weird thing. And the internet has not been around since the dawn of humanity, so we are just now starting to realize the very serious effects, some good, some not so good, that these types of relationships can have on people. So this isn't to say that you can't ever befriend a voice actor or an ASM artist or whatever, because you totally can. But I feel like there's a power differential, almost, especially when you're creating these types of audios where you are portraying having a relationship with the person who is listening. And you can treat that power in a responsible way, or you can be a gross creep about it and abuse it and exploit that power. Being a massage therapist, transference and countertransference are very real things, and it happens. But you need to be careful and make sure that you are not exploiting the power that you have. And yes, it is very meta. It's... ugh. I will say, though, that one bigger creator, one thing I agree with that he posted that should be an instantaneous red flag is if you see any voice actors talking about their followers being simps. And I'm like, yeah, because that implies that they have a creepy, holier-than-thou view of the people who consume their content. And that's just not okay. You know, like... if somebody says that about themselves, that's different. But as the person with the higher level of power in this structure, to be like, oh, anybody that listens to it and likes it is totally just a simp. No. No. That's not okay. But plenty of people who do that and talk mean to their followers make tons and tons of money off of it. Just goes to show how far society has fallen in regards to self-preservation and a sense of self-worth, I guess. And that is why, even when I write a dominant character, they don't talk down to the listener in a degrading, mean way. Yes, I agree. We are all messed up. It makes me think of something that one of my instructors in massage school said, which was, you have a perfectly normal fucked up body just like everybody else. Because everybody's body has got trauma, and everybody in general has trauma, and our experiences are what shape us into who we are. And I know that weeb is one of those things where to a lot of people it is an insult, but some people have sort of taken the banner and run with it, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make this have a positive connotation, kind of like otaku. And to that end, also queer. Queer used to be a slur, and now there are plenty of people who take it as a point of pride. Some people do still consider it a slur, but a lot of people don't. It just means that they are different. So I think you have to kind of read the room and figure out who you're talking to and gauge people's reactions. Nobody could hear that crackling, because that was my shoulders, and that was not fun. So if anybody wants to give me a really cool Christmas present, I would like Santa Claus to bring me a new set of shoulders. That is what I want for Christmas. I have been asking for years, and he has yet to bring them to me, and I'm very disappointed. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that to a certain extent, Nate. The whole sticks and stones will break your bones, but names can never hurt you thing. It's like, yes and no. Yes and no. Because words have a lot of power. And if directed at somebody with the wrong intention, those words can be very harmful. So I'm not saying that you should have to completely censor yourself and always check what you're about to say. But some people who proudly declare, oh, this is just the way that I am, I don't have a filter, I'm like, maybe you're just kind of a jerk then. I feel like all words have a time and a place, and not all words are okay all of the time. And from going from the polls, which, yet again, if you want to be able to vote on the polls, make sure you check out the community tab, which, like I said, YouTube doesn't always show to people, but it's there. If you go to the main channel page, there's a little bar across the top. Just click on community. So when I asked people, I listed 4 of the series that are kind of sort of running right now. And people said they wanted Werewolf Girlfriend Part 2. And then next, they wanted the Cake Witch, or The Lonely Human Bakes a Cake and Summons You one, Part 2. And also The Fallen Angel Girl was up there too, which I was kind of surprised that people enjoyed that one as much as they did, since that was almost completely improv. That makes sense. I feel like the power present in certain words changes depending on who says them, depending upon how close they are to you. A lot of times when I'm having that negative internal self-talk, I'm like, where did this shit come from? My parents didn't teach me to be this way. Where did this come from? And it's like, oh yeah, I know where it came from. It didn't come from my peer group. It didn't come from bosses and people I worked with. Most of the internalized self-loathing that I am fighting so hard right now to get over and move on from is from the man who vowed to love, honor, and cherish me until one of us was dead and didn't make good on his promise. When the only adult that you see pretty much ever has nothing but mean things to say to you, it makes it really hard to doubt those mean things when you don't have anybody else around you countering it and saying, oh, they had a bad day, or they're just taking it out on you to feel better about themselves. It starts to feel like the truth, and it becomes part of who you are. And I put up with that crap for 6 years. It's gonna take me at least that long to get that shit out of my system. And I'm trying to accept that and tell myself it's okay. Just don't listen to it. Well, listen to it, but analyze what it's saying, I guess, is more how I'm trying to operate. People who don't have an inner monologue at all are absolutely wild to me. I can't imagine how odd it would be to not have that sort of a voice in my head. But apparently some people don't. But you know that you're starting to heal from something when you say something positive about yourself and everybody around you is like, really? We've been saying that to you for years. And it's like, oh, but I didn't notice it before, but now I am noticing it and I agree with you, so that's good. Look at this emotional growth. It's so fabulous. Actually, it feels pretty weird, but you know. Seems like the second half of the stream always gets really, really heavy out of nowhere. I'm not quite sure why that is. I would assume that he probably means people who are more repressed, more secretive. People who were probably told growing up things in the vein of, boys don't cry. I thought I had a son, not a daughter. If you're a male, that is. Or stop crying. Nobody wants to deal with you when you're like that. You're too much. You talk too much. You're too excited. Anything where society has made us shrink in some way to fit into that box that they think we're supposed to be in. That's kind of how I felt at first when I started making audios. I was like, I'm such a weirdo. Nobody's gonna like any of this stuff. Some of it is so out there. Nobody's going to enjoy this. Why am I bothering putting this out in the universe knowing full well that it's just gonna get ignored? Because it's not going with all of the big trends. But here we are, almost at 2,000 subscribers, so I guess being a weirdo and writing all my own stuff kinda proved me wrong. But I'd like to think that part of the reason that things did kind of take off the way that they did is primarily because of my personality that isn't necessarily when I'm in character. And that I try to interact with everybody as much as possible. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to be a little weird. I'm still going to interact with people as much as I possibly can. I know that as the channel grows, I won't necessarily be able to have like a back and forth conversation in every single comment, but I do intend on reading every comment and always leaving likes on them so that people will know that I did see them and I did read it. Because I know that someday, we won't put a date on it, but someday, when the channel gets to be like 100,000 subscribers, trying to comment on every single comment is obviously not going to work unless I had another person doing it for me. And I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want somebody else on a team to be responding to comments, you know? But that's why I encourage people to go follow me on Twitter, because Twitter is easier as far as actually interacting with people goes. And I've met a lot of really interesting people over on Twitter. Voice actors, script writers, some people who are just listeners. I don't want to say fans, because I don't know. In this context, it seems icky to refer to them as fans. So we'll say listeners. I think that sounds less exploitative. But it's fun to interact with people there. And then we can just send dorky memes back and forth and gifs at each other, you know? And that's another nice thing about having a stream. Getting to actually interact with people who you might not necessarily have the time to interact with just in a comment capacity. I don't think that it does. Now, if I started sending direct messages to people and interacting with them in a manner that I would say is unprofessional, then I would say yes, it does. But I don't think that it blurs the line anymore. I feel like Twitter is kind of the great equalizer, and I'll explain why. So I've been on Twitter for over a decade in an author capacity, so I've got maybe like 1,200-ish Twitter followers, but it doesn't really matter because most of them don't interact with any of my stuff. Exactly, Nate. And see, me responding to that in a humorous way rather than me getting offended is the reason that you're here still, right? Right. But over on Twitter, people with huge, massive subscriber bases, you can have a conversation with them like you're just two people in a room. It is amazing, and it is so cool. I mean, I commented on some random writing post the other day that Laurel K. Hamilton also commented on. And I was like, oh my god, having a total fangirl moment because I've been obsessed with her book since I was like a junior in high school. But they're just there. Everybody's just there talking like everybody is just on a level playing field, and it is so cool. And when you're working on starting to build your own subscribership and following, I went and followed one of the male VAs that I've watched his channel for a while, and he had just started a Twitter, so I popped over there, and he just comments to people like everything's like you're just having a conversation with a work acquaintance almost. I don't want to say friend because I wouldn't take it that far, but it's more like having work acquaintances, you know, people that you kind of sort of know. You wouldn't necessarily trust them with your deepest, darkest secrets, but you know that you can talk to them in a casual, capacity. It doesn't have to be strictly business. Which is nice. And the cool thing about being over there is that you can find other people whose channels are around the same size as yours, and you can exchange tactics. Like, oh hey, this worked really good for me. What works really good for you? Because if I'm trying to improve things, maybe something that you're doing is a tactic that will work for me. And just having people to bounce ideas off of, you know, like, yeah, I can throw up a poll on the community page here, but I can also have a conversation with people on Twitter about it and probably get more quality interactions, even though I'll get a higher quantity of interactions here on the YouTube community page. Like, oh, you really like this idea best. Well, why do you like this idea best? And whenever I post polls and stuff on the community page, you guys can always comment why you would vote that thing, or a more specific idea that you have based around that thing. I am always willing to try things and run with it, and again, yes, I am doing the writing, but if what I'm writing isn't something that anybody is enjoying, then it doesn't really make sense to write it, you know? I'm not saying you guys have total control over what I'm writing, but your input is valued, and I do value it. And oh, I totally feel you, Nate. I had a few creators that really got heavy into the degradation nonsense, and I'm like, I ain't come here to have somebody tell me that I'm worthless and awful and horrible and pathetic and a worm and should just get stepped on. Like, some people are into that, you know, cool, good for them. There's plenty of that out there. That's not what I'm going for. That's not what I'm going for. That's why I like my tsunderes to be snarky and sarcastic, but not total dickbags. Because I don't like people like that. In real life or in the media that I consume. You don't have to be an asshole to be dominant. And I really, really, really wish people would stop thinking that those two things have to coincide with each other for it to work. I like most of my audios and most of my characters to be a little bit switchy with the power differential, because I feel like that is more true to life. I can honestly say that I have only ever met somebody who was completely dominant in everything and all things, or completely submissive in everything and all things, like maybe one of each in my whole life, and I'm almost 40. So people are not singular beings. We are made up of multitudes. Why not embrace multiple, if not all, parts of those multitudes? I know that it's a lot easier to just narrow down one pathway and go, I'm gonna stick with this. Because it's a lot simpler to write, it's a lot simpler to portray. But I kind of like having the emotions go all over the place. Which I think is part of the reason why people ended up being so invested in Kasaya. Because even though I kind of marketed it as her being dominant, she's kind of in between. Yeah, I'll agree with that too, Nate. Yeah. I feel like there isn't a lot of plot in many roleplay ASMR videos. And that's where I was like, ooh, I have novel writing experience. Lots of it. Sometimes people are one thing for 15 minutes, and that's true. Not every video has to vacillate back and forth, but I think you get what I'm saying. And that's another thing I've been trying to balance too. Because I do a lot, as I've mentioned before, I am a numbers and analytics hound, and I spend a lot of time researching so many things, and just watching the way other people are doing things. And it seems like male VAs can make much shorter videos and get crazy high engagement, and it's just absolutely bonkers to me. And then female VAs will make slightly longer videos, somewhere in the realm somewhere in the realm of 15 to 30 minutes or longer, and get way less engagement. But by the same token, if those same people make shorter videos, the amount of engagement they get is equivalent to their longer videos. So I don't know if it's just that more females consume ASMR roleplay content, which is possible, than males, or I have no idea. I don't know where my brain was going with that. I had a thought. I don't know where it went though. Yeah, because I know that my audience, which with me being a female creator, obviously there are more males who listen to my work, but I've still got between 17 and 23%, depending on the week, of my audience is female. So do women just consume more content of that sort to excess and on repeat, as opposed to males or masculine people, however you wish to frame it? Because I can only go from my analytics and what TubeBuddy tells me when I click on other people's stuff. And TubeBuddy also tells me what other videos people who consume my content watch. So then I'll kind of go look at those and go, okay, what are these people doing? Well, this channel's got like 75,000 subscribers and averages like 30 or 40k views on every video they do. So maybe there's something in here that I can add to my toolkit to help improve what I'm making. Because yes, I can look at things and go, oh, this sort of content does really well, I should just totally copy that idea. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Could I probably have quicker success doing that? Probably. Am I going to do it that way though? No. Because Randy likes to drive the struggle bus uphill with 2 flat tires. It's like yandere content. I know a lot of people really, really, really like it. And I was like, I'm gonna make a yandere character. And then Celeste, the witch who really, really needs therapy and is going back to therapy after kidnapping the barista listener happened. And I was like, this is not how this was supposed to go. She was just supposed to be crazy and obsessive. And here we are having all of this depth and such. And that's not what I was going for, but that's just how it went. I can't just do flat characters. I know that a lot of people really enjoy the whole, oh, this person is so in love with me, they're obsessed with me to a crazy extreme. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. That's why most of the VAs that I really enjoy do not use public or recycled scripts. They either completely improv everything or they write their own stuff. And it has a lot more depth. But then there are some creators who have been in the game for so long that honestly at this point, if I was in their shoes, I would be having a hard time coming up with new content. Because it seems like they're cycling back through ideas that they've done 5 or 6 times previously, and they're doing it a little itty bit slightly differently now, but it's still the same basic premise over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't want to do that. Like, I would really love to do audio versions of the chapters of the books I'm writing and post them here on YouTube, but my characters swear a lot. There's a lot of graphic violence. There are extremely graphic sexual situations, and I don't know if even with the age restriction on, if it would be enough. Because the stories I write are about adults for adults. I am not a young adult author. That is not what I'm going for. Aw, thank you, Nate. There are some good public scripts. Actually, most of them are written extremely well. But when the people who are consuming the content start commenting on those videos, this is the 10th time I've heard this story. I don't want to be one of those people. And that's exactly the same problem that I have. It's like, I've heard this one before. I appreciate this other person's voice, but I don't want to hear the same story, just read by a different person again. I know right now I have tons of ideas. You do not want to see my notebooks, Val. That's all I'm saying. Every time I get a random stray thought, I'll message my one friend and I'm like, oh my god, what about this? And he's like, where do you come up with this shit? I'm like, I don't know. But I had this idea and I knew that if I sent it to you, it would cement it in my brain so it can start fermenting and become something bubbly and amazing. But I have writing prompt books. Every time I see somebody, there are a couple of VAs that I see complaining about it a lot. They'll do a stream and they're like, I'm completely out of ideas on what to do. And I'm like, are you really out of ideas or are you just fishing for watch hours? Because if you're really out of ideas, there's this magical place on the internet called Pinterest. And if you go on Pinterest and look up writing prompts, you can lose days of your life reading ideas across a variety of genres. And I actually get lost reading those ideas quite frequently. And then you can get inspired by all sorts of random crap all over the internet too. I mean, the cake witch thing actually happened because somebody made one of those meme versions of a some e-card, and it had, you know, a little retro lady in the kitchen baking, and it looked like something had blown up in her face, and underneath it said, tried to bake a cake, accidentally summoned a demon. And I wrote that idea down probably 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, I am going to use this somewhere at some point in my writing career. And then when I started doing audios, I'm like, this would translate so well into an audio medium. I think that might be part of it. I think that it's also that, as I am also guilty of, people get caught up in, I really want to do this idea, but I've seen like 10 other people do this idea, so how can I make it unique enough that people still enjoy it? Or conversely, I saw this really big creator do this idea, and if I do it, everyone's going to think I'm copying them, so I am afraid to even attempt to do my own spin on it. There's so many different layers to the webs of things that connect things together. I feel like a lot of people honestly got into making this sort of content just because people like the way their voice sounds, which is cool. Yes, it is an audio medium, but if you don't have a creative bone in your body otherwise, then you need to either use public scripts, which a lot of people do, or you need to pay somebody to write you exclusive scripts. Because if you can't come up with ideas on your own, but you want to keep making content, it's got to come from somewhere. And there are more than enough people around. Oh. I mean, you know, if that is what your heart is singing you should create, Val, I guarantee that you can make it work. But you might want to not use the word drug. You'd probably have to substitute it for something else. Because YouTube isn't for kids, but we're gonna censor everything like it is. I have to say that honestly, out of all of your audios that I've listened to, and I think there's only 2 or 3 that I haven't listened to yet, you know, Funny Powder would definitely work. I think that my favorites were the... God, what was it? I can't remember if you called it a warlock or a magician, but the one where he had the listener try the potion in the first one, or was it in the second one? What is it about this stream in particular that has captivated your attention? I know that a lot of people just put on streams and just let them roll in the background. I know I tend to do that a lot when I'm doing chores and stuff. Did you really? Well, that's good. Now I have something to listen to before I dive into editing my next audio that I'm going to put out tomorrow. Always helps get me in the right mindset. I know a lot of people would call that procrastination, and I'm like, no, it's not procrastination. It's getting your head in the game. We out here doing work, son. So is it just my voice, or is it the things that I'm talking about that you found interesting, Mern? Because I recently had a very interesting revelation in regards to my own voice. In that I finally have a really, really good headset. I have a Razer Kraken headset. And it has the really nice surround sound to it. And to edit, I was listening to a stream that I did previously. And I heard my own voice with this very expensive headset and went, oh my god, is that what my voice sounds like to people? Really? I was like, wow. Now I kind of get why people want to listen to me. I have always hated my own voice, especially since becoming an adult. And yes, there are only so many mediums to go around. Well, that's just like in one of the writing groups that I'm in. People are always like, oh, I really want to do this idea, but I know it's been done to death. I'm like, every story has been written before. Every single one. It's how you take that basic idea and make it your own that makes it different from the source material. Like every time I see somebody's posting a new take on a fairy tale, I'm like, okay, really though? And I always have that moment of, I don't know if I want to read this because I've read so many like Sleeping Beauty done in a modern way nonsense. And some of them are actually really good, but I always have that second where I'm like, ew, this again? But then I'm like, give it a try. And then you go listen or read it, and it's like, wow, this is actually really well written, and they did some cool things with it. Because it's different from the source material. I was actually really surprised by my voice, especially since the other day in my Facebook memories, it showed me the first vlog that I ever made that I never posted anywhere but to Facebook, that I recorded with a little crappy digital camera back in 2010, and I was just talking about the stories that I was writing at the time. From the perspective of an author, just talking about like plot work and whatnot and what I was writing. And listening to my voice from 12 years ago, I was like, holy shit, was my voice really that high? I didn't realize how much the excessive quantity of metalcore that I listened to and have learned to scream along with has altered my vocal cords. Yeah. My voice is a hell of a lot deeper than it used to be. I'm like, oh, this is what people mean when they say sultry. Got it. Smoky, husky, whatever. I will say, though, it's kind of annoying that the honestly damage I have done to my vocal cords before I learned how to scream and growl properly makes it so my voice will rattle. after a little while. I don't usually find myself talking in one of my characters' voices, just because I have been writing books for so long that if I were to outwardly speak like the many, many different characters that live in my brain, I wouldn't know what my own voice sounded like anymore, because there are so many. I mean, the reverse harem book that I'm writing has the female main character, 7 primary love interests, and then a more outward ring of satellite characters who are involved probably 30 to 40% of the book. So there's a lot of characters rolling around in there. It's weird, though, to hear your voice the way that other people hear it. And there is a lot of overlap between tabletop RPG players and authors. Yes. I know that I am not in the schizophrenic category, though. And I wouldn't say that all of the characters in my head are ever confusing, but it can be very disconcerting and borderline frightening when out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you can almost feel this presence beside you and somebody starts talking. And you're like, I know there's not really a person there. So, now I know that you're going to tell me all about you and what you do. And when your characters tend to be on the quasi-terrifying side, that can be a really scary thing sometimes. And I have not considered exorcism, but I do sage the house regularly, considering this building, you cross the street and there's a cemetery, like, right there. You can look out my window and there's a cemetery right across the road, and it is one of the biggest cemeteries in the city. As long as they're not trying to hurt me, I don't have any quarrel with any ghosts. Ghosts, demons, whatever. Oh, dude, we're like... This apartment complex is ghetto adjacent. It is not in the ghetto, but as soon as you go outside of the gates of the complex, I would not feel safe walking outside here at night by myself. And I am a big, capable girl, and I would not walk alone in the dark here. It is not a good place to be. But when there are no places available to rent and you need to live somewhere, you do what you gotta do. Oh, I wouldn't be worried if I was in a vehicle. That I would not have a problem with, but I would not walk outside by myself at night. Not even with the sharp things that I tend to keep on my person. Which I am not quite as much of a connoisseur of blades as it seems like many of the male voice actors I follow are, judging from their throne gift lists. How many sharp things? Well, it depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing, but I always have at least one. but I have several of them that, even though I enjoy them, they are illegal to carry on my person in this state. So, if I were to carry them on my person and had to use them, I would have some splaining to do. I have to say, though, that is one of the perks of not having a hyper feminine silhouette. I can wear a really heavy-duty compression sports bra and a big t-shirt and not do my hair or makeup, and people cannot tell if I am a male or female just by looking at me. So when I want to go shopping and don't want to be bothered, I will go incognito and go full androgynous, and it is very nice because I have big broad shoulders and a flat chest, so I can just hide and just get my stuff and get the hell out and not get bothered. In my younger years, I never would have thought that I would be happy to not be top heavy, but here I am and I am pleased. And after being a massage therapist now, I feel bad for women who are top heavy because they have such massive upper back problems. And it almost causes clavicle dysplasia. It's really, really bad. So I'm glad. I would say probably like 17 to 23-year-old me is sad. But now nearing 40, I am glad. I am pleased. It also makes it so that I can comfortably wear a men's medium t-shirt, because they actually fit my shoulders with a little bit of room to spare. Women's clothing is just cut stupidly. It makes me wonder if the people who make it have ever actually seen a woman's body or not. The idea that none of us have square shoulders is just unfair. That's because women's jeans are made for form, not function. One of the reasons that I actually like wearing leggings as much as I do is because they have pockets big enough to hold my massive freaking phone. If there are even actual pockets in women's jeans, which most of them, if they are skinny jeans or boot cut, the front pockets are not pockets. They're a stitched-on detail masquerading as a pocket. And that is awful. It is absolutely horrible. Like, women don't have anything we need to carry in our pockets? Really? No, instead we need to carry a huge bag full of crap that makes us into victims because it's so easy to come take that bag away. Lots and lots of practice, Nate. As someone who also did archery growing up, I am glad I do not have big old yiddies. Ooh, that sounds really cool. And for a while, I actually wanted to just start buying men's pants So I would have functional pockets. However, because I have had children, I do have hips. And men's pants are not made to fit people with broad hips. So that didn't work. That was an unfortunate sadness. It makes me wish that super wide leg jeans would make a comeback. You know, like Jinko jeans and Xanadu jeans from when I was in like 5th grade. Jeans with pockets so big that you could put a Discman player in there. If any of you are even old enough to know what that is. Yes, exactly. Jinko jeans, yes. Yes. But see, you knew what they were. So that means that you just dated yourself too. It's not just me. Hey, kitty boy. Those were not real. What do you mean they weren't real? Is that a new Mandela effect thing? I dated a couple of boys in high school who wore nothing but jeans like those. Well, I mean, one of them I actually dated for 5 years, and he's a few states over. Just lifing like a normal adult. I really wish cargo pants would make a comeback. It seems like the closest to them I can find are carpenter pants for my kids, because I think that skinny jeans for very active young people just doesn't make sense. Like, you're gonna jump and climb something and you're either gonna accidentally castrate yourself or you're gonna split the seam right down the crotch, and that's just not, no, that's not okay. You weren't expecting what? Wide leg jeans? Super wide leg jeans? Oh my god, they were so great. That's like late 90s, early 2000s fashion to a T. I miss them. They were so comfortable. And because I am adept at sewing, could I make wide leg jeans? Sure I could. Am I gonna do that though? Well, I mean, I have kind of considered it with a few of the much larger pairs that I have gotten from thrift stores for super cheap. But why not though? I mean, if it meant that I could have pockets that actually fit something in it. I mean, when you can't even get 2 knuckles into a pocket, how are you supposed to put something as big as a 7-inch long smartphone in it? Realistically. And yes, I have a Galaxy Note 20, so my phone is huge. Hugely huge. 。 . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . women deserve functional pockets, and we shouldn't have to wear athletic leggings to have them. I mean, we could all wear athletic leggings. And women's jackets and hoodies actually are also shit at having functional pockets. So unless you're buying men's jackets or a jacket that is 5 sizes too big, you still don't get enough real estate. Reject clothing. So with Minerva and the short tips thing, I actually stole that from the Shannara Chronicles TV show. Eritrea is always calling Will, who is a half-elf, short tips because he doesn't have, as a half-elf, your ears are slightly longer than a human's, but not as long as a full elf. So, short tips. And in the show, it always read like a dick joke, as it was supposed to, from my understanding. You have skin. But what if you don't have skin? What about people who do not have skin? Did you ever think of them? No, you only think of yourself. Oh, I don't know. They're supporting my frame, And yes, existence is pathetic. You're right. Store your belongings in your bones. That sounds like... It reminds me of a conversation I had with my kids about why we don't do the tooth fairy thing. And I was like, why would I encourage you to trade your bones to the Fae in exchange for currency? That's like some super occultist stuff. And my older son goes, wow, that's so dark. And I'm like, it's true though, think about it. I'm like, we do not make deals with the Fae in this house, my dear. That is not a thing we do. Like, we are if somebody sneezes twice, you have to ensure that you say bless you, because if somebody sneezes 3 times and nobody says bless you, chances are the Fae are going to come and take them in their sleep and replace them with a changeling. Yeah. I don't even know where I heard that when I was a kid, but it has stuck with me into adulthood, that if somebody sneezes twice, I have to say bless you. Yes, exactly. If you don't like a person, you do not have to spare them from being abducted by the Fae. In fact, the changeling might be an improvement. Yeah. All those bare nerve endings would just be horrible. Yeah, that could be a new video idea. Your cantankerous girlfriend is now completely tolerable because she's not really your girlfriend anymore. She was abducted by the Fae and replaced. Making a deal with the Fae for your mouth bones. See, I always have all these spooky ideas, and I'm like, but I'm not trying to go full-on horror content, you know, like a little bit of supernatural stuff here and there, some paranormal stuff is cool. I obviously don't like just plain human characters unless their counterpoint is something that's not human. But yeah. Dude, the first Werewolf Girlfriend audio was the result of absolutely unhinged and unplanned. I did that entire thing in one take, and it's like 40 freaking minutes long. And I was like, nobody's gonna like this. This is so freaking weird. Nobody's gonna enjoy this. It's too long. There's too much going on. It doesn't have any of the ooh-woo factor that people are looking for. It's actually moderately threatening at one point, like the listener might get unalived. And everybody loved it. You're right, but for every 3 sneezes, you have to make sure before they have sneezed a 4th time, you have to say bless you. You have to. It is essential. It is critical to their survival and for them to stay in this plane of existence. And oh, I know, my most popular videos are always the ones that I expect nobody's gonna like at all. And then in a series that's been running for a bit, I'll put one out in that series after telling people, oh, hey, there's going to be a new one in the series, thinking it's going to do well, and it's kind of like, meh. Like, it does okay-ish, I guess, but it's not the over 16,000 views like the first Werewolf Girlfriend. It has to be a run of 3 unblessed sneezes. So if somebody sneezes once, you don't have to say anything. If somebody sneezes twice, it's fine. But if they sneeze 3 times in a row, like achoo, 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 you better make sure you say bless you before a 4th one emerges. Or they might not be them anymore. Oh no, I totally know that people do want to be moderately threatened in a safe way. Man, now you guys are making me want to write it. Like, this was a joke. Now it doesn't feel like a joke anymore. It feels like it could actually be a thing. It'd be a weird niche thing, but yeah. And I would say that the Werewolf Girlfriend video wasn't even really a flash in the pan because it didn't instantly get those numbers. It's been just a gradual building of it's the one that keeps bringing more people to the channel, because with your analytics you can see which video people subscribed from. And that seems to be the one that brings the most people in. That and the witch who baked a cake and summoned an incubus. Dude, you're gonna fall. You're okay, goofy cat. relax to danger. I have a few of them that I listen to that are like that. It's one of those things where you're like, this would not be acceptable in real life. But as far as head kinks go, I am totally about this. I am 110% down for this idea because I know that I am not actually in danger. Which is why we enjoy horror movies, because it gives us that rush without actually being in harm's way. Yeah, the cat crawled right up under the microphone earlier and was purring. Hopefully it wasn't too terribly loud. I don't have headphones on monitoring where my levels are at right now. I just went by what the bar says for decibels and whatnot, so yeah. And that's what I meant with my voice having that rattle when I've been talking for too long. Which I guess some people enjoy, but it's like, man, when I'm trying to make my voice sound clear and crisp, and my voice just does this thing. It's disappointing. Which is why it bums me out that I can't sing all clear and pretty anymore. I can only sing with that rasp and that stupid fry scream sound. Which is great when that's what I'm going for. But when I'm not going for that, I'm like, ugh. I have a throwaway YouTube account that I use for most of my research stuff so it doesn't mess with the analytics and my views for things I want to see on my regular account. And I have listened to so many female voice actors and ASM artists, and I don't want to sound like I'm being hypercritical of them, because obviously what they're doing is working. But when I hear the super high-pitched, ooh-woo anime girl, Oni-chan, I'm stuck voice, every time I'm like, ugh. Like, I can't even make my voice go that high if I try. Even my customer service voice now is not that high. So I had to go for a different angle, which is why I'm like, oh, let's not do contemporary stuff with like cutesy girlfriends. No, we need like the edgier goth paranormal stuff. Because that's more in my natural voice range. And to do this, I don't want to hurt my voice doing this. I know that a lot of people who do impressions, for instance, like, again, I'm going to mention Yuzuya, when he started doing more Bakugo Katsuki based audios initially, before he learned how to change his voice to that register, he'd fuck up his voice and not be able to do anything for days. And it's like, for longevity, you can't do that. You have to find a way to work with what your voice is capable of without hurting yourself. Like, sure, take voice lessons if that helps. Do singing lessons, whatever works for you. But now that I've been looking more into singing stuff, because I enjoy singing in a casual capacity, it is not something I will ever do to get paid for, even remotely, because my voice sounds like this. But seeing people whose voices are in my normal range, thinking that it will be easily attainable for them to sing like Ariana Grande, is appalling to me. Like, your voice isn't meant to sound like that. It just isn't. Your voice is your own voice. You have your own range. Stop trying to sound like them. But not just from metalcore screaming since I was like 13. I have a genetic proclivity towards having a deeper voice because my mom's voice is right down in the basement too. Oh yeah, for sure. Deeper voice female singers are a totally different thing altogether. But you know, being a woman, there are times when I'm like, man, I wish I had like a clear, pretty singing voice instead of this husky dive bar singer on stage voice that I have. But you all seem to enjoy it well enough, so I guess it must not be that bad. I haven't had anybody accuse me of being a man in disguise or being trans because of my deep voice on here, so that puts you all leaps and bounds above the men in dating apps in my local area. I have been accused on more than one occasion of being born male by men in dating apps in my local area because I am broad-shouldered, moderately flat-chested, have a deeper register voice, and my name is Randy, even though it's spelled with an I. They're like, oh, this screams must not actually be a woman. If it had only been one incident, it probably wouldn't bother me as much as it does. But it's happened like 4 times now. So I just don't bother with them anymore. Like, nope, I'll stick to my boyfriend ASMR and my Otome game characters. I know some people who are in transition. And sometimes they choose, you know, a more gendered name towards whichever side they're going to, and sometimes they pick something totally androgynous right in the middle. You never know. I am kind of jealous of the goblin core aspects of non-binary people. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, ooh, shiny rocks. Shiny rock, must pick up rock, put rock in pocket. Oh wait. Because I am a woman and not a non-binary person, I don't have pockets that can hold rocks. You like that? You see how I brought that back around to pockets? Because I'm still salty about not having pockets. Oh wait, rocks in pocket already. More rocks. Yes, exactly. I can carry like 1 rock. And I actually have a single terminated piece of snowflake obsidian that I usually keep. Wearing more pants. Oh, that's what I should do. I should wear layers of pants to have sufficient pocket quantity. I don't think that's gonna work when it's 90 plus degrees like it is right now. I think your idea has some merit. However, I don't think that would be the most efficient method. The humidity isn't that bad here. Ew. Wool jackets are for winter. Wool jackets are not for summer when it's 90 degrees. Yeah, but see, you guys get that because you have pants with pockets. Women's pants are not made like that. Ugh. I worked retail for over a decade. That's just... I still would never wear a wool jacket in the summer. Tactical. I actually wear an apron when I'm at work to protect my clothing from oil because, yay, massage therapist. But also because what's the apron have that my pants don't have? Pockets. I've even looked into, like, women's tactical cargo pants, and I'm like, I am not paying $60 for a pair of pants that firstly are still more geared towards form than function. And secondly, I ain't paying $60 for a pair of pants. Nope. I'd be better off just wearing a fanny pack again, for crying out loud. Pay $60 for the pockets. The problem is, though, even the pockets on those tactical pants still wouldn't fit my freaking phone. Because if I wore all of those things, I'm gonna look like I'm in hostel. Women's pants are shaped differently. They tend to be shorter through the crotch for obvious reasons, but they're also much wider in the butt and hips. Men's pants are not that way. And I do also not want to get cut in half by the pants that I am wearing. So, to have a pair of men's pants that fit me in the hips, that means that they're super loose everywhere else. And it's like, you know, I kind of want it to fit my butt a little bit. Just a little. Not look like I'm wearing a sack and have to wear a belt to keep them up, you know? And honestly, still having to wear a mask at work and wearing an apron, especially on a day where I'm dressed all in black, and wearing a collar to work because I am a slave to capitalism. Sometimes it looks like I'm an extra in hostel anyway. I do know a few men that are also built like that. But men's pants, by and large, are not made for men built like that. Oh my lord. We've been streaming for almost 3 hours, you guys. What the hell? How did that happen? I was thinking, oh, we're just gonna go for 2. Well, now we're like 10 minutes off from 3. Thank you, Nate. I will have a good night. Once I sign off of here, I've gotta get that audio edited for tomorrow. Have that scheduled to go up. Maybe actually record another one tonight so I can get ahead. I don't think we got distracted by pants. We got distracted by pockets. Pockets. And I won't say that sleep is unnecessary, but I think that sleep is wildly overrated, and people place a lot more value on it than is necessary. Unhinged fey girlfriend. Good God. I mean, if Val can go make a cryptid hunting video, I could also make a satirical comedy parody style video, and with my luck, people will probably love it. Thank you for stopping in, Mern. I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm something, I guess. I'm not quite sure what, but something for sure. But then the question with the unhinged fey girlfriend thing. Is the girlfriend the tooth fairy? Or is the girlfriend the changeling that replaced your girlfriend? Right. That is the big question. That is the big moral dilemma we are faced with here. Or, I mean, there is a possibility that they could be both. Oh, you live in the Appalachians? I am moderately jealous. I actually backed the Kickstarter for the Old Gods of Appalachia tabletop RPG book that's going to be coming out. How dare I say what? That I'm jealous? The podcast. That just made me think of Metalocalypse, the way that was written. Stops copies me. No, you stops copies me. I'm sorry, should I have said Appalachia? The Appalachians? I've noticed that the only thing that I really say differently now from moving to the West Coast, from living on the East Coast, is that now instead of saying Oregon, I say Oregon. And I'm like, I didn't realize it until I said it, and my mom was like, did you just say Oregon, or are you talking about Oregon? And I was like, oh God, I've lived here for too long now. It's changing me. I am being converted. Oregon, New Yorkers. It's the Oregon Trail. You know, it's not the Oregon Trail. That sounds like a bad, low-budget slasher flick. Something that would be funded by, like, Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez. No. It's not the Oregon Trail, it's the Oregon Trail. Right? See, I grew up near the Adirondack Mountains, where, yes, we also had to worry about cryptids, but not to the same degree. You're gonna uninstall my Wi-Fi? No, don't do that. Actually, you know what? You totally could, because my desktop is hardwired, so do your worst. And yeah, the primary cash crop where I grew up was the devil's lettuce before it became legalized for recreational use. Joys of growing up very rural. Where the line between eldritch and just straight up rural country is blurred. When you're looking out into a field and you see a goat and it lifts its head and it continues to lift its head higher and higher and higher, and then you realize that it's not a goat. It was just a llama or an alpaca. So it's okay. It's not a cryptid this time. See, I kind of like the mountain accent, but I can also understand why you wouldn't necessarily want to sound like that. I have people tell me all the time that there's no way that, firstly, I am from New York, and secondly, that I grew up in the country. I also grew up near a military base. I have seen all sorts of weird things. Things where you're like, is this a government experiment or something else? It doesn't seem like it's gonna bother us, so let's just walk away and pretend we didn't see it. Okay. Because apparently I talk way too slow to be from New York, because everyone hears New York and they assume the city. And I sound way too educated to have grown up in the country, apparently. I'm like, my bad. Because I read books a lot, and my parents encouraged me to read all the time, so I did, and I do. It seems like for the entire duration we had a much better connection this time around than last time, too. I wonder why. Didn't seem to have the latency issues. I only saw it buffering once, which is very nice. Yeah, I usually say, oh, I'm sorry, let me put on my Brooklyn for you. Hey, fuck off, I'm walking here. People are like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not from that part of New York. I'm just not. I grew up several miles past cow country. That's how far out in the country I was. You passed all the farms before you got to where my family lived. Y'all's of, oh god. Might could. You know, every time I think of trying to put on an accent for an audio, I decide that it's a bad idea. With the exception of Minerva, and I kind of regret using that accent, even though people seem to enjoy it. Because it came out as neither Irish nor Scottish, kind of a weird blend of both. And it's really hard to replicate, so I'm gonna have to listen to it again before I start trying to speak that way. Because every time I think, I should try a southern accent for something, I'm like, no, because it's gonna sound like I'm making fun of people. And I actually enjoy accents from all over the place. But I don't want people to think that I'm picking on the way that they sound. Because that's not what I'm going for. And I feel like I'm going to have a character at some point throw out a Latin lesson. Because I'm getting real tired of people commenting on the Cake Witch with the Incubus audio going, well, this can't be F for A because an incubus is a male. And I'm like, wrong, actually. Incubus in Latin is a masculine word. It means to lay on or to lay above. It means it's a dominant or a top. It doesn't mean it's a male. The word is considered male, just like in some languages. Words for things like windows and doors are female words. Does that mean that my window is a girl? No, it does not. It means that the word for window is a feminine word because of the language it came from. Incubus means top, succubus means bottom, and concubus actually means to lay beside or to lay with. So a concubus is a switch. That's all there is to it. Concubare in Latin means to lie with. That's where the word came from. It does not mean that the entity being called that is that gender. Every time. Having to learn noun declensions in middle and high school for Latin was a blast and a half. I took Latin for 6 years. So, yeah, omnibus means switch. Concubus means switch, not omnibus. I mean, theoretically, anything can exist theoretically. But every time people comment that, I want to kick things. It's like, stop it. Do I really have to give you a language lesson? You can go look it up on the internet. You are on a device that has access to almost every piece of knowledge in the known universe. And yet here you are, spewing this tired nonsense. As if you are an authority on said nonsense. Just stop. Yes, my middle school offered Latin the way that my school district did languages. Oh, listen, dumbass is drag racing down the road outside my apartment. Yay. My favorite. But in 5th grade, we had French for half of the year and Latin for half of the year. In 6th grade, we had Spanish for half of the year and German for the other half. And then in 7th grade, we got to pick which of those 4 we wanted to continue to learn. And we did that for half of the year in 7th grade, then the full year in 8th, and as many more years as we wanted to, as long as there were enough kids in the class, up through graduation. And yes, the burning of the Library of Alexandria still makes me quite sad. So I picked Latin out of those 4 languages and took Latin for a combined total of 6 years, from 5th grade through 12th. And now because I took Latin, I can pick up bits and pieces of French and Spanish and German. And because I'm a bit of a masochist, I'm teaching myself Japanese too. Just because. Aw, that's lame. I know that Spanish seems to be the default for a lot of schools in general. But growing up as close to Canada as I was, it only made sense that we also had French to choose from. Even though being near Canada, we weren't anywhere near Montreal, so I don't really understand why, I guess. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that French Canadians are invalid on a moral level, but yeah. Spanish and Turkish, that's an interesting offering. So Quebec is like a demon. If you don't acknowledge it, it has no power over you. And yes, I said Quebec because I grew up near Canada. It is not Quebec, it is Quebec. Yeah, I feel like Canada for the most part just pretends it doesn't exist. But you know, they wanted to secede. Let them do their own thing. Quebecois. I like the word. I will say that the people are a nightmare. From an exorcism perspective, kinda, sorta. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie The Exorcist, think about it. The whole time they're like, oh, don't listen to anything it's saying, don't pay attention to the words it's saying, just keep repeating the prayers, blah blah blah, whatever. So theoretically, if you completely ignore a demon, it is harder for them to take control of you. Yes. If you give the demon an opening, they will take it. I love living in the city. It's my favorite. God damn it. Nothing beats being in the middle of recording an audio at like 11:30 at night with the windows closed so I'm sweating my ass off, and then that happens. I feel like to a certain extent, yes, as far as the exorcism thing goes. To a certain extent, yes. But I also have always been of the mindset of, okay, so what if you come across a demon that is not a Christian demon? What if it is a demon from a belief system that is older than Christianity? All of your monotheistic prayers will have no power here. Your mother cooks socks in hell. And yes, I said it that way on purpose. I mean, is the demon any fun if they're not? I think is the better question. I know that my one friend was laughing at me for the end of the Cake Witch audio, where she's like, and now for the really important question. Can I touch your horns? Please? I was like, yep. That's how it would go. Monster lover in full effect right there. The only other way you could really be living is if you're the one topping the demon. Things like Neckos that are mostly human but with like cat ears and a tail. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the first generation of them probably would be treated poorly. But a few generations in, I think that they would probably be placed at a social status above normal non-anthro humans. Oh, I totally would, but here's my issue with Neckos in particular. Every time I see an audio that's all super cutesy and sweet and adorable, and it's like, your Necko boyfriend does this obnoxiously cute thing, I'm like, dude, if you are going to have cat people, they must have cat traits. Give me unhinged, moderately dickish catboy energy. Please. I think I actually saw a few TikToks that were along that line, where guys put on cat ears and were going around doing cat things. Like walking by and you'd have a half-finished drink sitting on the table next to you, and they'd walk by and they'd look at the drink and they'd look at you and look at the drink and just swipe it off the table and just walk away with their head held high. And I'm like, that is proper catboy energy. Getting the zoomies at 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are you running laps in the apartment? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? That is the type of energy I want to see. So if there's any other VAs still chilling around in the chat and you want to make a catboy audio, please give to me moderately dickish, cat-like Necko boy energy. Please. Because yes, some cats are cuddly and adorable and perfect. And then you have, like, the giant orange monster that lives with me, who is cute when he wants to be, and other times is a 16-pound furry wrecking ball of destruction and chaos. There is truth to that. I don't know, I feel it would be okay to write it because I have such a clear vision of it in my head Like, they'd be kind of snarky and sarcastic. You know the way cats are kind of standoffish sometimes? Just really sassy. I demand pets and cuddles. Yes. Okay. That is an adequate amount of pets. Why are you still petting me? I said no more pets. Yeah, that sounds like a cat to me. That totally sounds like a normal cat to me. And that's the other thing with audios too. I know that some people can just tell their whole story through speaking. I like making mine into more of an audio drama. I have been fascinated by and obsessed with Foley since I was a kid. Because I saw an episode of Wishbone, which, again, dating myself, when I was a kid, where they actually showed you how they get the amplified sound effects for all of the things that you can hear in an episode. Yeah, that sounds like a cat. That sounds like a cat to me. I like the extra atmosphere of not just music, but appropriate sound effects. Yes, Wishbone, the dog that dressed up. Yes. Uh-huh. Man, it is just constant tonight. Good thing I have editing to do. I don't know if I'm gonna get to record with that crap going on. Now what are you screaming about? What's the story, Wishbone? But there was one episode of Wishbone where at the end of it they were showing how they replicated all of the extra sounds that you have. Like, okay, you can hear people walking on gravel, but they didn't actually have a boom mic down by people's feet. What they do is they add the sound back in later, like they had a plastic kiddie pool full of gravel, so they took shoes and just moved them across the gravel at the same pace as what was happening on the video, and then adjusted the volume so you could hear the walking on the gravel. I was like, that is so cool. My tiny preteen mind was blown, and that's why I'm really like doing the sound design stuff in the audios. Does it take a lot longer? Oh, hell yes it does. But I really, really, really like the end result. Oh, I wish the car sounded like weird ghost sounds here. It just sounds like annoyance to me. How could you forget about Wishbone? Wishbone exposed so many people to classic literature that they never would have been exposed to otherwise. Yeah, that is the only real problem with delving deeper into how things like that are done, is that it kind of ruins some of the movie magic for you. Like, I am a big consumer of vampire audios, and every time I am listening, I am trying to determine what object they decided to bite to make that sound. I'm like, it sounds too squishy to be this. It sounds too firm to be this other thing. I want to know what they were eating to make that noise. I feel like some people go way over the top with some of it. And And I know that some people have said peaches, and other people have said strawberries. And I hate peaches, so that's just a no-go. That's never gonna happen. Peaches and mangoes, no. Mm-mm. And then some people, you can tell that they bit into an apple, like the bite noise is good, but it's too hard to have been that you bit flesh. There's a lot of experimentation that comes along with doing your own sound effects for audios. Defeated by a fruit. Rotisserie chicken. Oh, actually, that sounds just about right. Because the meat is more moist, the skin is slightly crispy. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I listen to some of her stuff too. I actually enjoy her storytelling a lot. I'm not about women. Not in that way. I am completely straight. I am not even remotely flexible in my sexuality in that regard, but I really, really enjoy her storytelling. Now you need to just pop up like the voice notes thing on your phone and record taking bites of it to see how it sounds, see if it sounds like convincing vampire nomage. And that's totally fine. I had a lot of friends like that in high school, and so many of my friends were bi all at the same time. It made me stop and go, God, if they all like boys and girls, does that mean I like girls too? And I was like, nope. The idea of touching another woman intimately, nope, not for me. Mm-mm. Other people can have it. Enjoy, not for me. I can appreciate the female form without wanting to sleep with it. We'll put it that way. I can acknowledge that a woman is beautiful. That doesn't mean I want to go out with her. But to each their own. Which always makes people say, well, how can you be poly and not be bi? And I'm like, that just means that none of my direct partners would be women. Doesn't mean that my partners couldn't have partners of whatever other gender expression they choose. I'm just not about ladies that way. Rotisserie chicken. God. I know some people will use like celery, and that just doesn't, that's too crunchy. That sounds like a bone snapping, not like biting somebody. That is a trope that I actually really enjoy too. Not gonna lie. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. That, yeah, kinda, I guess. Maybe. I don't know, though. I feel like... Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna have a neck. I was just gonna say, if a werewolf bites you, it's because you're gonna die, not just because they want a little sippy sip. think that's something that you can recover from in quite the same way. It doesn't have quite the same connotations as getting chewed on by a vampire. Yes, sippy sip. That actually reminds me of in my Vampire Reverse Harem into Polly eventually novel that I'm writing, one of the characters, his nickname for the female main character is Juicebox. Just a bite. Probably not. I mean, unless I was immortal and I could recover from it. I mean, that could take all sorts of kinks to the next level if you knew that you couldn't die from normal wounds that would kill an average person. I think that's where a lot of the weird debauchery and depravity comes into play, with the idea of something immortal like a vampire. Which is actually also something that I explore in a scene that is still moderately icky that I wrote. That eventually, once I finish the book, other people can read it too and determine whether it is an ooh or an ugh. I do not fear God. Your God has no power here. I mean, I feel like in that kind of context, ooh and ooh kind of, they're in the same ballpark. Lord, let me tell you a story about how I got here. Let me tell you. Worth it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very low on self-preservation, obviously. And I know that like half an hour ago, I said that we were gonna bring this to a close, but I think now that it's almost 8:30 here, we'll wrap it up in just a couple minutes so I can go get editing and make background music and do all the things. I feel like part of the appeal of vampires too just comes from my millennial nihilism a little bit. Like, you know what? I'm not sure if this world is for me anymore quite a lot of the time. So you know what? Just send me off, Vladdy. Do it. I'm ready. I am ready. Do this. Walk into the afterlife with a smile on my face. I always knew I would die trying to pet something I shouldn't. Yes, absolutely. temperature's only 88 degrees now instead of 94 degrees. It's cooling off, y'all. Yeah, just because, I mean, but if not friend, why friend-shaped? You know? It looks like a puppy. I should be able to cuddle it and hug it and pet it and squeeze it like it's a puppy. Right? No. Don't do that. Alrighty, so it is 8:30 now here, so I am going to draw this stream to a close. It has been a very interesting evening conversating with you all, and I hope that you had as much fun as I did. I'm sure listening to this on the replay is going to be a bit nuts. So thank you so much, everybody, and be on the lookout for Cake Witch Part 2 tomorrow at some point, and I will catch you guys all in the next video. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.